On this week's episode of the Autohaus podcast.
And I wanted to wait to drive it when it wasn't really wet, but it was raining for like a week straight. So I was like, forget it. I'm just going to go out on the road and try to drive it with this GoPro. In that split second, you have to make a decision. I decided to do the most stupid thing.
This is the Autohaus podcast. I have another guest from out of state today. Could you say your name and give yourself a short introduction?
My real name is Chase, but on my YouTube I go by Hakosan, and I drive a 1984 Toyota Corolla Coupe SR5 converted to a full GTS.
And you have one other car that kind of piques my interest too.
Yeah, a Mark III MR2 or the ZZW30 Turbo.
Nice. I gotta add the turbo at the end.
Yeah. Pretty penny on that turbo, so I might as well say it.
Yeah. So one thing kind of to start this off, I really respect what you do. Like, I think the first time you sent me a first few DMs, I didn't really look into it until later on I had some time. I saw your YouTube and I saw what you were doing. And I just want to say, like, I really respect what you do, man. Like, to see like the work you put in on YouTube, your subscriber counts right now, 4.21K subs.
Yeah. I've been going at it for 2 years. And I mean, I really respect YouTube because every time I install something, I'm not like a mechanic or anything. So I have to look it up, and you give so much great content on your channel about how to adjust the panhard bar, how to get it centered, or the four links, or just anything like that. You usually have content on your channel that I could watch to help me figure out how to do it.
Oh, I appreciate that, man. I guess kind of similar with both of us. Another reason like I admire your channel is that, so I have a couple people that help me like edit videos and like give me advice on the YouTube. And they say one thing that I do that's peculiar, and then same thing with you, is like we don't do like clickbait stuff.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, like we don't do stuff that's like trendy or clickbait.
Mm-hmm.
To see, for example, like the amount of subs you get, from my opinion, like just documenting your journey as building up these two peculiar cars.
Yeah, I mean, I put a lot of work into promotion wise, and I try to share the link as most as like I can, just to because it's been my dream ever since I was to do something on YouTube.
Okay.
And I've had like a gaming channel in the past. I've also had a music channel in the past, but I've always just liked cars, so I've decided to quit those back in the past and now focus on this car one.
So that's one thing I'm interested about, is talk about like your journey on YouTube from the start and until today. Like, so
I think I was in my maybe 12 when I first started my gaming channel, and I was under the I liked the Persona games back in the day on my PlayStation, and I named the channel like Persona Reviews, I think, because I wanted to review the game. I ended up just playing a bunch of different games, Call of Duty, and other games like that, and I think I got up to 2,000 subscribers. But due to high school, I told a lot of people about it. And as any other YouTuber in high school that doesn't have a lot of subs may know, you get made fun of for it. So I kind of got discouraged and started a car one, like a car montage one. And that one was doing good. I think I got about 1,000 subs on that. And then that was probably around 2015 when I was 15. And then I changed that to a music channel. I did that for about 2 years, and I actually got somewhere with it. I don't know if you know some of the underground rappers, but I made a song with Jaden Smith and Young Bands. More people know that Jaden Smith, but I was getting somewhere with that. But my friend was really the one that was inspiring me to do that, and I honestly like rock music so much better. So I wasn't as into that as I should have been for being in that type of career, like that music career. So I then went back to my car channel, and I just right out of high school, I think I bought my dad's MR2. He really loves MR2s because of the just the way they handle, and he loves convertibles. So it was like the best of both worlds. He first had a 5-speed 2002 model, and then he got the 2003 model with a sequential 6-speed. And I made my first video, I think, just cleaning the headlights on that because they're really, really foggy. And then I just started making videos from there on out. I thought the MR2 would be a great car to make a YouTube channel on because of how not that many people make a YouTube channel on it. So it'd be something different. And this past year, I've kind of lost interest in it. I want to get back into it. I want to finish getting some, last parts for it. But I've got this Corolla, and that was my dream car. And ever since then, I've been adding new parts to it, getting it as daily drivable as possible. Because right now, it was my daily driver before I kind of crashed it.
Mm. And we'll get into the cars in a second, but I have a few questions for you. So your music channel, so did you used to be a rapper? Is that what it was?
No, I was a producer. I made the beat behind the actual song.
Oh, wow. Cool.
So yeah, I forgot the name of it, but it's on SoundCloud. I think I don't know. It's just a Jaden Smith song right before he released his Sire album. Me and him made a song together, and I produced the beat behind his rapping.
And then going back a little bit more, so did you say you got made fun of in high school because you didn't have that many subs on your YouTube channel? Was that right?
It was more of them playing my YouTube videos in class, and then for some reason the teacher would get mad at me, or they'd take, because I'd have the game, and then I had my little face cam in the bottom corner.
Mm-hmm.
They'd take my face and then put it on a Prius with flames or a horse, and I'd be the head of it. So they'd just take my channel. I thought, wow, I could maybe share this and maybe get some more exposure, but it turned out to be the opposite. I got bad exposure, and I was postered all around school and whatnot. But,
oh man, yeah, that sounds terrible.
Yeah.
But this is what's it called? During the time I was in high school, YouTube was like just in its like infancy. So just to hear about this is like a foreign concept for me. But that's interesting to find out, and then that's like really unfortunate. But on the other side of that, it looks like you're doing really well on YouTube. So forget those guys, right?
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, that was freshman and sophomore year. They're making fun of me, but then once I got the Jaden Smith placement, because I was really big, that was I think number one for a little bit on Apple Music station or something, and then everybody was like, "Oh, that's Young Haka," which was my producer name, and then everybody kind of changed up once I actually got some notoriety.
Talk about that name, Hakosan, because you just mentioned, previously Young Haka. So it seems like you've had this like persona or this name for a while. Talk about the origins of that name.
Well, I don't know. My friend's name was Hella Sketchy, and that was his producer name, also his rap name. And I was trying because he brought me into that music scene, and I was trying to make up a name. And most rappers/producers have a little or a young at the front of it. So I got the name Young, and then I really liked the Hakosuka or the Hakotura, that little truck that was like the Hakosuka that was like changed into a truck.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked that. So then I got the Hako from that. Later, I know that meant box, I think, in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
So that was just kind of like the thing that I try to call myself. And then, throughout school, everybody would, and other people, they would just call me Hako. So I try to just keep that and change it a little bit because I don't want it to be under the same name as my producer name, because I already had some of like a known name for that one.
Mm-hmm. So we'll save your Corolla for last, but Talk about this MRS. I'm really curious about this one.
So that was the car that my dad had. I bought it from him, and I wanted to get into like cars as a job, but as having Asian parents, that's not really a thing that they want you to have because my mom's Filipino, and she said she wanted me to either become a doctor or like an accountant or something, that makes more money. So I'm still in school to be an accountant. I don't really know if I'm going to end up that way, but I didn't really have any knowledge on cars and no tools. My dad didn't really have any tools either. He wasn't like a handyman. That was more of my grandpa. So I just grabbed, I think the second mod I did, because I'm not going to really call cleaning headlights a mod, but was putting on an exhaust for my car. And I didn't really have any tools. I think I had a ratchet set that my dad had, and I had a butter kitchen knife that I took off some screws with. And, I kind of just started making videos with my phone first, and then I later bought a Canon G7X, which is like what most YouTubers use. And I just got my phone, put a little mic on it, like $20 mic, and I just started recording myself doing whatever I was doing in my car. And after the first two mods, I kind of got addicted to it. After the exhaust, I got some new wheels. Then I wanted to get the TRD body kit because I think the MRS or the MR2 doesn't really look good without the TRD body kit. The TRD body kit changes the whole look of the car because before it's bubbly, and then with the TRD body kit, it's more has some sharper edges. So I got the TRD body kit, and I got this really rare, I think, in America, a starred rear lip for like really cheap. All I had to do is fix it up, and I got some new headlights, and then I got the hard top that only came from Japan and the UK, which is pretty hard to get over here, but kind of saved up for that and got that. And the last thing I did to that before I kind of stopped was put a turbo on it from Monkey Wrench Racing. They have like a turbo kit, and it's pretty easy to install. It came with all the manifold and the injectors and everything I needed. And then I got it tuned, and I'm at like 220 horsepower on that. I'm kind of scared every time I drive it though because of it being a stock engine with 109,000 miles. But I hope the Toyota reliability will just keep it pushing for me.
What made you decide to go with that turbo kit rather than, engine swap? Or I know supercharged is one other option for that engine.
Yeah. So I didn't go for that right away. I was wanting to go for, at the time, now I probably wouldn't do this, but at the time I wanted to do the K swap because that's known to make a lot of power and, light cars. But it was too much money. I think it was like 10 grand. And that was with cheap parts from like the junkyard and eBay and all that. What I was seeing from one of the guys that did it near me, I think like 30 minutes away, some guy did it. And he had a bunch of eBay parts and he had an eBay turbo on it. And I don't really have good experience with cheap parts. So I decided to go a different route. So it was either the 2ZZ swap or the turbo. And I like watching drifting videos and I like hearing the so I decided, you know what, I'll try a turbo out because I've never had a turbo car before. Now I realize that I kind of like NA cars better.
That was a really good impression of that noise, by the way. But I mean, I'm the same way with you. Like, you may or may not know, I have that R.N.R, and there is like a carb legal supercharger kit for it. And I tell people at the shop all the time, like, I don't care if it even makes any power. I just want to hear the supercharger noise.
Yeah, honestly, like the noise is just so cool. And yeah, I mean, I like it, but I really do like NA more for just, I don't know, anything.
Yeah, one of the reasons that your MRS intrigues me so much is because we're starting to have a resurgence in that chassis, especially I've noticed in the Bay
I've
Area.
seen a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they've grown in price too. they've been going up in price, and I don't know. I've seen a lot of people starting to modify them. I know there's this guy. I think it's Track King or something like that. He uses a white and gray one that has it's crazy. Huge wing, and he has all these new parts. He's got companies making parts specifically for his car, which then can be used in other MR2s. But yeah, I've seen a lot of people starting to buy these up because of how light they are and mid-engine, and they're kind of getting the recognition they deserve, because for a while, no one really liked the third gen MR2s.
Yeah, definitely the redheaded stepchild when they came out, and then for the longest time, I
Yeah,
mean, like a couple decades, like no one really cared about the chassis, right? Or people just forgot about it.
yeah. I mean, it's a great car. I love it. I just heard that the engine isn't the most reliable compared to other Toyota engines, but I mean, I also have a Pontiac Vibe as my daily driver when I don't want to drive my Corolla,
Hmm.
and it has 185,000 miles on it right now, and that has the same engine that's in my MR2.
Oh, interesting.
So
Yeah, I know Battle Garage Grant, he makes the like comparison all the time is that, and I hear this from other podcast guests, is like no one predicted that, now in 2020 cars are only going to get more boring. And then
yeah,
that's why a lot of time, that's why they think we're seeing this resurgence in these like golden era or even like previously forgotten about chassis. Cause I know we kind of like
hmm
broke it down at the shop one time. It was like, if you want a midship convertible that comes in manual, you have very, very few options. And then if you want something affordable, even fewer than that. There's basically one
hmm
car, right?
the MR2.
Yeah. Unless you wanted a what's that stupid Fiero? Unless you wanted a Fiero, but
Oh, that thing is terrible. That thing is terrible.
yeah, we have
And
a
known to catch on fire.
yeah, Fire Arrow. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you heard of the Spirit MRS?
Yes, of course, of course.
Yeah. I mean, that one's crazy. I've seen that thing beat so many other cars, and I think it just has I don't know, I don't want to sound stupid, but I think it has a 2ZZ in it, which is pretty easy to put in those cars. It's like a direct swap in there. But I've watched a lot of videos of that car just demolishing, cars that should be beating it, just because how light it is and the balance and everything like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure what engine it has in it, but you're probably right. I mean, typically that era of Japanese tuning style is very, very traditional, right? So like keep it NA or
Yeah.
like keep the manufacturer's engine in it. I mean, one
hmm
particular thing I'm thinking of right now is like the HKS Time Attack FRS. They on purpose kept the FA in it because that's like the philosophy, right? Like keep the same manufacturer, same engine in the car.
Yeah.
So it's like very like Japanese tuning style.
That's the kind of way I like to go to. Like I'm gonna be keeping I want to keep the 1ZZ in the MR2 and just build the engine and hopefully get like 350 out of it once I'm done with it. I know it's going to be more expensive than going with a K swap, but I don't really want to put a Honda motor in my Toyota.
Mm,
Same thing with my Corolla. I'm going to be keeping the 16 valve, and I don't want to go to 20 valve with the beams. I just want to keep it the way it is from factory. I
mm.
also don't like putting wide bodies on my car. I kind of just like to keep things the way it was with a little TRD bits to it or whatever.
So then the last car, 1984 AE86. I had to go back in your YouTube channel. I didn't realize it started life as a SR5, but you can talk more about that.
Yeah, I got it from a guy who was a Toyota engineer. He did most of the swap. Yeah, he did most of the swap, but no one really drove it, I guess, except him, his wife, and I don't know. It just didn't have AC, and he was always driving these other cars, so it kind of just sat. And I was looking for a Corolla, but I couldn't find one for sale. And I started messaging the people that were in the A86 Society of Texas group on Facebook, saying, "Hey, do you want to sell your or do you want to sell your 86? Do you want to like?" And one of them said yes. He said, "I haven't really been driving it that much. If the price is right, then sell it to you." He said that the engine was rebuilt just like 3,000 miles ago, so it was a transmission. And he said he was trying to make this a daily driver, which I kind of liked because that's what I wanted. I wanted my whole goal, and I know this is probably going to change in the future, but my whole goal was to get this car as a daily driver. But I tend to mod things, and then it turns out I get another car as a daily driver. But it was like, really nice. All the parts were there. He said it ran pretty smoothly and everything like that. So I went to go check it out. And then when I got there, it didn't turn on all the time. And that was kind of scary. I was in a parking lot because I went to go get some food after I picked it up. And I don't know why I picked it up when it didn't turn on all the time, but I did anyways because it was my dream car. And I got stuck in a parking lot for like 20 minutes trying to start the thing up. I got it home and went to go get some ice cream as a dessert. And I just let it sit there for a couple of days, and I started trying to figure out what's wrong with it, saying maybe if the fuel pressure was low, so I got a new fuel pressure regulator. I checked the spark. I checked if air is getting in. I checked the EFI relay. I did everything that everybody suggested, but nothing really worked. I tried even putting the fuel pump on all the time with external battery, and that didn't work. So I was kind of really scared that I just made this investment, if you want to call it that, and it's going to be a broken car. Luckily, I took it to a guy that's been working on Toyotas for a while, and he actually saw these brand new, and it was this shop that someone recommended called R.N.R Automotive. So he figured it out real quick. I think it was like a day. He said that the ECU was not getting enough voltage, and which was I've never seen all of the forums that I asked. No one ever said about like the ECU not getting enough voltage. So he ran an extra wire, and it started up each time. Only problem is that when I was trying to fix it myself, I think I somehow the starter ate up the flywheel. So now in certain if I park in a certain place on that flywheel, it won't start, so I have to roll it back. But yeah, so then I got it starting, and I've been wanting to make it look nice, and like I said, a daily driver. So I got it wrapped and got the kooky front bumper for like a week, and then I was driving, and I wanted to wait because I got this new GoPro, and I wanted to wait to drive it when it wasn't really wet, but it was raining for like a week straight. So I was like, forget it. I'm just going to go out on the road and try to drive it with this GoPro. And still learning on how to work on cars and driving and everything. So it probably wasn't the best idea. And I ran it into a guardrail. And so my kooky bumper is now really scraped up, and a bunch of other things. I got to send the coilover in to get fixed. The shock tower is a little bit bent up, and hopefully that's not a lot to fix. But I'm definitely going to fix it, and I'm not going to be selling my dream car anytime soon.
So for the podcast listeners, you can actually see the video of the crash on Hakosan's YouTube channel. Play by play, what do you think happened? Because I watched the video a few times.
So one thing that I did was I locked up the brakes, and no, I shouldn't have done that. I probably should have just. So I think the rear end swung out just a little bit. That was the first thing that happened. I don't know if it was because there was a little puddle on the ground, or I need to get like a rear sway bar or something. But that happened, and I was like, oh crap. Last thing I want to do is run this thing into the bridge that was coming up. So I was like, I don't know. I know it's a bad idea. And at the time, in that split second, you have to make a decision. I decided, I'm going to stomp on the brakes. And that's what I did. And it didn't turn out that well. I know I could have done a million other things, but I decided to do the most stupid thing. And yeah, all those new parts that I got, that bumper, and I got the coilovers just like 2 months ago or something. And now I got to get both of those things fixed. I'm glad that chassis and everything is mostly fine except for that shock tower, just a tad bit bent upwards.
Yeah, tough call. Heat of the moment decision is always tough. Is there anything like you learned from this going forward because of this
Yeah, I
crash?
mean, yes. So one thing that I probably should have done, first of all, not locked up my brakes. I should have kept on the throttle, so it didn't. I think they were saying some people are saying that if I did that, it wouldn't have ran the guardrail. But since I just locked on my brakes, I just slid straight into the guardrail. Probably need to get a rear sway bar since I upgraded my front to that TRD one. And I probably want to check, just double check all my suspension and get in alignment. I was waiting to get in alignment, but I was waiting for my friend, and he said it'd be like 2 weeks. So I probably should have done that before
Mm.
taking out a rainy day and doing all that.
Yeah, I saw in your video like the puddle on the right, and I was like, uh oh, maybe that's what it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, one thing I was trying to aim at is like if you, I know Texas to get places, it's really far away from everything.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's just a generalization, but if you have any sort of like skid pad or like autocross, any sort of like high performance driver's education HPDE, that would,
Oh yeah,
yeah, that's.
definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've been looking into like a couple tracks and whatnot, but I've got to find one that's not so expensive. I mean, we have Coda near us, and I don't know if this is just one day that it's super expensive, but it was like $500 to go on that track, and I'm like, damn, that's like that's a whole new something right there for my car. So
Oh
I
yeah,
got to find something that's cheaper.
yeah, I think because Coda is like we were just there earlier this year. I think Coda is like a world famous F1 spec track. It's definitely the biggest facility
Yeah.
we've ever been to. I would suggest maybe start smaller. Like I know for us, Laguna Seca is closest to us, and not even on track, just in like the parking lot or the paddock. Sometimes they'll do
Mhm.
autocross days or like skid pad events in the parking lot of the track, and that's I think stuff like that's a really good intro into learning your car, learning car control, things like that.
Definitely, definitely. I definitely want to be looking into stuff like that. I don't want to do that again. Don't want to ram into another wall. I mean, I was lucky enough this time that nothing, too major went wrong, and I can recover from this one. So
Oh,
that's good.
yeah, and then you didn't get hurt. That was big too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I was kind of more concerned about the car when it got crashed, but yeah, I'm okay.
that's good. So this your car being a GT SR5, how complete was that swap when you bought the car?
Just the engine, and yeah, just the engine.
Because I think one of your
I got
YouTube
I
videos, it's like rear disc converted. Is that what you did?
Yeah, I did I got the LSD rear end, and I also got the cluster. But he did really upgrade that engine. It's the 8092 engine,
Oh
the
wow,
high compression engine
cool.
with Tomei pond cam and HKS valve springs. So I think he did that really well. I think, but he said he didn't want to upgrade to the GTS rear end because it was too expensive, and he wanted this as a daily driver.
Mm.
So he didn't really need that. Now that I want to, like you said, go to autocross and do different things like that, I wanted to get the full GTS. I even upgraded that cluster so I didn't have the wrong red line and everything.
Do you mind saying how much you paid for that rear axle out in Texas? You don't have to. You don't have to answer that question. But
Yeah, it was. I think I got a deal for it. I think I paid 600 for it.
oh my god, okay. Yeah, I'm always curious, like prices of stuff in
Yeah,
other.
I've seen them go
Yeah,
for like 1,200.
I got an eBay ad when I was scrolling through Google, and I think there's one on eBay for like 1,800 right now, and I about like,
I saw that too.
yeah,
I saw that too.
yeah.
eBay has the craziest prices. They want like $400 for the simplest part. It's like so crazy. I was looking for those exhaust brackets, and you were selling a whole set. Those things where you put those rubber donuts on,
Mm-hmm.
and it was I think $300 for those little things. And I went to a guy in Houston and got them for free. So Yeah, I mean, just eBay has the craziest prices. I don't know what they're thinking on that. They got a busted GTS seat, in the worst condition, 1 out of 10, and then selling for like $1,000, and
Yeah.
it says clearance on it.
Oh man.
And I'm like, what? What was the original price? Yeah, it's insane.
I just realized I got a little bit ahead of myself. Where did your interest in this chassis start?
I don't want to be one of those hype beasts or whatever, but it was definitely Initial D.
Okay, no,
Once I watched Initial D, I mean,
man, we're on the same
I was
page. You
like,
don't have
wow,
to worry about it.
yeah, that was definitely the way that I got interested in the car. And I mean, I'm actually glad that the MR2 is actually in there, the third gen, which is
Mhm.
pretty cool. But yeah, once I watched Initial D, I was like, wow, I've got to have this car. And I mean, I love I love 80s music, so like I love rock and roll, but I also like I don't know, just any genre of older music. I don't really like the newer music, so it kind of fits when I'm in the car. I feel like I'm transported back into the 80s. So I mean I love driving it. It's so simple. No power steering. The AC thing kind of sucks, and I can't wait for you to finish that kit because I'm really looking forward to getting some AC. Sometimes it rains here in Texas while it's 100,
Oh
and
my
it's like,
god.
well, I can't have my windows down because it's going to rain in the car.
Mhm.
So I'm kind of just screwed in my little microwave. But yeah, I just love how simple it is, and I don't think I'm ever going to be looking at a newer car. They just seem, like you said earlier, just so boring.
So last time Grant and I went to Texas for a super lap battle, we had
Hmm.
the pleasure of hanging out with a bunch of people who ended up all being Corolla guys. So are you familiar with John Yim, who I think is based out of Houston?
Um,
The
what color is this car?
the
I mean,
it's the John Yim special one. It's the black car with the gold livery on it.
oh no, I don't. I mean, I went to the H6 meet not too long ago, and I don't think I've seen a black car with gold on it.
Okay.
But I mean, I don't. I'm not that. I'm not the most social person out there, so I
Mm,
didn't meet all of the people there.
mm. I guess the other thing too that John mentioned was that because you in Texas, all you guys are so spread out, it's tough to come together for meets. Does that sound right?
Yeah, yeah, that is. I mean, Texas is so big. We've got people in
Mhm.
Dallas and Houston, San Antonio, and Austin, of course, and all those places are like 2 hours to 3 hours away.
Mm.
So the last one we did a couple months ago or like a month ago was in Houston, and I had to drive like 3 hours, and for some people with these type of cars, and it might not be the most reliable, so some of them don't make it. Even I saw guys that if it was just a little bit more north, he would have came and stuff like that, and so yeah, I know that 3 hours for some people, and 80s cars not the best.
I was gonna say 3 hours in a Corolla with no AC.
Yeah, that's terrible. I did it at night because the meet started at 7, so I pretty much just stayed up all night. Went in the morning. That was pretty good. On the way back, it was really really hot though, because it was around like I think 12, which is the peak. Crazy.
Talk about what the Texas Corolla scene is like.
Okay, well I haven't been in it too long, so like I don't want to give any like wrong stuff, but I everybody so far that I've met is really nice. I mean, I if I need a part, fine. I have a couple guys that I've met up with now, and they're really really nice. And mostly, I have to drive a while to get to anybody. And I think Houston has the most people in parts because I've been driving to Houston, a lot to get, those brackets. Such a small thing, but I drove to Houston to get those. I drove to Houston to get my seats. I drove to Houston to get a kooky bumper that I was going to fix up before I figured out that most people cut off the side. And I kind of like my car, clean and stock is the way that, Toyota wanted it with, just a little bit of the OEM body kit or the TRD bits. So I didn't really want the cut bumper. So I sold that and then I bought a new one. That one I didn't get from Houston, but and then I got the rear end from Houston and a bunch of other parts. So I've been having to do a lot of driving. I've also been to Abilene, which is 3 hours in the opposite direction, same day. So I think I drove like 11 hours that day to just pick up parts. So that's one thing that I don't like about the Texas community for Corollas is that there's so few of them and the parts are all over the place. And it's that's the worst part, especially for the bigger parts that you can't ship. But I mean, other than that, the A86 community has been really nice, and I've enjoyed the latest meet, which wasn't. I saw last year's meet. They had like a barbecue cookout, which was really cool in Austin, which I missed because I didn't have that car at the time. But this one was also cool, where we went up to Houston, and there was I think about like 20 of us there.
One thing I've noticed, and you can let me know if this is true or not. So I think last
Mm-hmm.
time talking with the Corolla guys from Texas, one thing in particular about the Texas landscape, because there's so many like wide open spaces, so like drag racing is
Mm-hmm.
huge there. Like I guess it's like nothing to have 1,000 horsepower car there. And
Yeah,
similarly,
there's a lot.
oh man, and similarly, I think I've seen it with a lot of Corolla builds too, where it's more engine swap or power oriented over there.
Yeah, I've seen when I went to the meet. I saw I, I I don't know. I've seen a couple beam swaps there, and then I saw the S2000 swap and a K swap in there. So all kinds of swaps at the meets. But I did see a lot of just some 16 valves, and I did see one for ACE there too. But there's a lot of drag racing in Texas because it's really flat here. Other than Austin, where they have like a hill country, where it's kind of where I'm at, Austin is pretty flat. And that kind of sucks if you want to be a tofu delivery driver here. I mean, from what you saw of the crash, I mean, what did you think would be a good like? Do you think I should upgrade my rear sway bar or like maybe take off the tier? Some people were saying that the car could be too stiff, so maybe go back to the SR5 one because I know the TRD sway bar is the same diameter as the GTS one, which is why I kind of wanted to upgrade to it to be like a full GTS swap. But some people are saying that it could be too stiff, and that's why I might have rammed into that guardrail.
Yeah, so bigger rear sway bar will actually make that car more oversteer prone. So like even more tail happy. And to give you like
Okay, so
to give you like an extreme example is Taka Aono back when he was the autocross champion actually ran no rear sway bar on his Corolla.
oh wow, okay,
Yes.
gotcha.
But I
Okay,
mean just
well that makes sense. That's good. I'm not gonna buy the Cusco one. I was thinking about it, so I'm glad you
yeah,
told me.
I mean I still have the factory rear sway bar back there. And here's a cool alternative if you didn't want to because like buying the sway bar, that's like one big move.
Mm-hmm.
Like an intermediate, which I thought about for myself, is that T3 actually sells that Heim jointed sway bar where there's 3 different positions, so you can actually adjust the stiffness of the factory rear sway bar. I think that's a good like intermediate option.
Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't even know that.
yeah,
So you keep the factory display bar, it's just like a little add-on that can adjust the stiffness of it.
yeah. So where the sway bar
Oh,
attaches to the chassis, there's like 3 different mounting points that'll change the rear stiffness of that sway bar.
oh, that's
Yeah.
actually really cool. I might have to look into that. And then, do you know of the Akuya shop? The guy who sold me the car told me that I have my intake manifold was made by Kuya, and it's like super rare, but I have no idea what that is.
Send me a picture. I'm curious. I'll watch some of your videos too, but send me a pictures. Yeah,
Okay,
I'd
I
be
mean it's
curious.
just like a small stamp,
Uh-huh.
but he said that it was like really rare for like it was because the 4AG that I had in mine is the front wheel drive one, so you'd have to switch the manifold around, and so I mean I'm not really sure
Oh,
if it's rare or not. If it's just made by someone in the States, there's actually from some rare Japanese shop.
Yeah, I think
But
I'm
I'll definitely send you a picture.
awesome. Yeah, I think I'm kind of familiar with what you're talking about because the small port you have probably came in something front drive. So when you put it in a
Yeah.
Corolla, it'll face towards the windshield. So
Hmm.
a lot of what people do is either like chop off both ends and like cut and shut, put the weld on the throttle body on the other side. I know someone local to us did a bought a intake that was done really well by someone where it was like you could bolt on to the other side, so it wasn't like a weld job at both
Hmm.
ends. But yeah, I think that's what you're talking about. Whatever, like the name of that shop might have. I'm not sure if yours is welded or bolt on, but that's probably what.
I think
Yeah.
mine is welded.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if it's rare or not because I wanted to go to. Oh, this could be another question. I want to go to ITBs in the future,
Mm-hmm.
and so far I've bought the wiring harness because I wanted to get a wiring harness for my car because the one that's in it right now is not that good. I mean, it's like all cut up. I don't. It's just random wires going everywhere. There's random wires that aren't even attached to anything, and so I hit these people, I think R.N.R Motorsports in Malaysia, and they made a harness for someone in I think Houston, and it was like really really good. So I hit them up, and they're making me a harness that for now, since I don't have all of the funds for an ITP swap, it's gonna just go into my original or like OEM ECU, and it's gonna attach to everything regularly, but it's also gonna have a plug separate when I want to go coil unplug, and also when I want to switch the ECU out for the link. So that's down on the road in the future, but I'm not like 100% on what all I need for the ITB swap. I know I need the adapter, and I know I need the actual 20 valve throttle bodies, inverter throttle bodies, and then the wiring harness, which I've being made, and then the ECU. But I'm not really sure what other things I need except that.
And you're not the only one because a lot of us are trying to go ITB on 16 valve, and that's definitely been a mystery for a lot of people. Like, what exactly do you need, or what exactly do you need to do? Do you plan to run a standalone for this setup?
Yeah, they were telling me that the Link G4X, something like that, was a really good one to get for the ITBs, easy to tune or whatever.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought this up because I think a lot of us didn't know there was a plug and play 16 valve harness for
Yeah,
yet.
go to R&R Autosport, and they can make supposedly, from what I've heard. I mean, I haven't received my product, so I'm not going to give like a review before I got it. But I supposedly you tell them what they want, and they can make it. They have so many different options. They have like a little plug that you can detach the what is it called? I'm not sure what it's called right now, but it's like a connector that you can detach for easy. If you're taking out the engine, you don't have to take the full thing out. And they have all these different wires that you can choose, and you can, it looks really professional at the end of it. And I'm really psyched to see what it's like because, like I said, my wiring harness right now is really bad. And just like I think about a month ago, my car died I was going to a drive-in movie theater, and my car was dying on the way over there. It was like getting dark, and I couldn't pop up my headlights. The radio turned off. The clock was dimming, and I was like, "Well, did my alternator just go out?" So I ordered a new alternator, and that didn't fix it. And then I figured out that some of my wires grounded out. I don't know if it's like the cheap wires that were used or what happened, but so I had to fix that, and then it worked perfectly. So I'm really happy to get a wiring harness that is professionally made, and it looks really really good from the pictures that I've seen of past wiring harnesses.
You know, another thing with ITBs is that we've talked about here that 20 valve ITBs are getting so rare, and then those things are also like at least 20 years old now. I think what's a
Hmm.
popular move that people are making right now is getting motorcycle ITBs and adapting them to 4AG right now.
Yeah, I've seen that. Like some people are getting like the bicycle ITBs and the bicycle carbs put on their car,
Yeah.
but Yeah, I don't think I want to put carbs on them, but I definitely want to put ICBs.
So specifically, what's been popular is that Suzuki Gixxer GSXR. So
Hmm.
it's still fuel injection. So it's ITBs, not carburetors. It's still like fuel injection, so you can get sequential fuel and sequential ignition. And
Okay.
yeah, I think because motorcycle ITBs are relatively inexpensive for what they are and plentiful, whereas like
Hmm.
our stash of 20 valve stuff is, getting older and slowly drying up, right?
Yeah, yeah. I know. I've been looking for a couple, and they're ranging from like 200 to like 300, and then some are going on eBay, of course, for like 500, 600. They're being crazy on eBay.
One other thing that's been interesting for me talking with you is that although you're in another state, like the way you approach this chassis is very similar to a lot of what I see in guys of your age group or your generation who have these cars now. Do you kind of get know what I'm getting at?
Um, I don't know. Not really. You're
So
just saying like keeping it stock or what?
so more of that, more of I know traditional style is really broad, but more of that like I'd like a, clean car that's, has all the interior in it,
Oh,
probably like JDM
yeah, I got
style
you.
or like all the
I see. Yeah,
JDM OEM stuff. I still want my creature comforts, but I really want to drive this car too.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, every car that I want to get, I want it to be, clean. Like the seats on before I when I originally got this car weren't that nice, and they were ripping, and they're actually purple because I think they're supposed to be brown before, but they turned purple, and it just did not match with the orange outside. So I I mean, this also doesn't match either, but I got some blue GTS seats, and then everything else in my car is really, really good condition, red and maroon. I got the door panels, and I got the rear seats and the rear door panels too. So far,
Where do you think like the inspiration for approaching your Corolla like this came from, or like, I guess even more simpler, like why are you approaching it like this? Because, and I'll give you like the 180-degree off example is
hmm.
so like when I was your age, when I was 20, I had a car with one seat in it that was gutted and had a harness and had an engine swap. So I did not care about the interior or like creature comforts or any of that. So what makes you want to approach your Corolla, the way you are right now?
I think it's because of how rare they've actually become. It's kind of like different to have a Corolla that's nice compared to one that's been drifted around. And I mean, I want to get it like I want to get into drifting and get a drift car and whatnot, but definitely not a Corolla or 86 Corolla because of how rare they are. I don't want to be another person to crash it and just make them more rare. I want to, have a nice one that has been well maintained and, has all those interior pieces that not a lot of the other ones have. But I do definitely want to get a drift car when I guess get my goal is to get bigger on YouTube and YouTube kind of fund some of the other things I do because right now I'm trying to make videos and that costs money to get parts and whatever. But in the future, I hope with the money that I maybe can get from YouTube, I can use it to get a drift car and kind of have a car like you were saying. But I just want the 86 to be really, really nice because of how rare the car is.
You'd be surprised. Out here in California, we still have like Corolla Matsuri drift days, and a lot of those guys have, you know, like Japanese bumpers and like full interior cars, and they're out there, doing the whole night drift event. So you'd be surprised. I know the car's rare as hell, but you'd be surprised. People still doing it here in California.
Well, I totally understand. The only problem with me compared to them is I'll probably crash them into a wall. So,
Oh,
um, you, I don't have any skill with that yet. So I want to start out with a car like that. I mean, maybe in the future when I get, adequate at, drifting, then I can, go up to a car that I'm like my 86 and try drifting that because that would also be fun. I mean, I want to do that, but I want to get a junker car first, like maybe like a 350Z because they're really cheap right now and good for
Mm-hmm.
drifting. Figure it out on that, and then go to a car because like I don't know if you saw the video, and I didn't really want to watch the video. I just kind of like uploaded it,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of people were saying that like they could feel the way that I felt like when I crashed that thing, and I do not want to crash it. Like I don't want anything to happen to that car.
Mm.
So I definitely want to just get a car that's not as rare, figure out how to do, the basics and everything like that. Because I know the 350Z is, going to be different driving than the 86 while drifting, but I just want to learn the basics and make sure that I'm, at least 80% sure that I'm not going to, go and crash this thing because it's, like I said, it's been my dream car.
Yeah. No, I totally understand you from that point. And going off of that, I mean, the majority of, because I spend a lot of time with, serious drivers, and the most common thing I hear is seat time, seat time, seat time. The money you
Mm-hmm.
spend in modifying the car is actually better spent in getting seat time and instruction.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like maybe when I go to my first actual event,
Mm-hmm.
I'll feel more, inclined to go back. But right now, I'm kind of the person that wants something that will last compared to something that's like in the moment. Like, am I going to get a cheeseburger that's going to be really, really good, or will I go to my local grocery store, get some ramen, save that for car parts? That's kind of
Mm.
my thing. Like that cheeseburger, it's gonna be good in the moment, but that's gonna take away from my money to, get car parts. So I definitely see where you're coming from. That seat time is very important, but since I haven't gone yet, I haven't got hooked. And
Mm.
I in my mind so far, I see, car parts aren't gonna just, it lasts more than a couple hours.
Mm. Well, we're almost to our 1 hour mark, and I just wanted to thank you again for like taking this on such short notice, and like thanks for your time, man. Did you have any like
I mean, yeah, it was
yeah?
really fun, dude.
Uh-huh.
Definitely, whenever you want to talk again, I'm down. I mean, I love talking to other people about cars. I mean, I know a lot of my friends don't like me talking about cars because they don't like cars. But I'm definitely down to talk about cars.
Awesome, man. So, before we wrap things up, can you shout out your social, your YouTube? Where can we find you, Hako-san?
So my Instagram, I'm gonna have to actually look at this real quick. It is _HAKOSAN_. So Hakosan, an underscore before and after, because without the underscores, it's taken, unfortunately. And on YouTube, it's also Hakosan. And I think that's all my socials right now. I don't really have anything else. No Twitter, any Facebook, or anything like that.
What's new? What's going to be new for the YouTube channel? What can we expect? What's the next video?
Definitely getting it fixed. That's one of like my main things. I know I got a lot of people asking me part out,
Oh
and
no.
I'm like, yeah, let me have your fender. But yeah, I definitely gonna get it fixed. I'm gonna be shipping out my coils to Annex or you tomorrow, and I got some new wheels for the front because the front passenger was the one that took the most damage. I think for the car, that's kind of like what it saved it from, destroying the frame or anything like that. So I'm glad that happened. So I got some new wheels, those SSR Mark II Rs, and now I just need to straighten out that frame. Hopefully that's not so much. I mean, it's so small. It's just like a little kind of like crack in the paint in the shock tower, and that's where I saw it at first. And I rubbed my hand over it, and I saw it's like a little raised up. So that when all that's fixed, I'm definitely gonna be driving again before I figure out where my fender is gonna come from and my turn signals and everything like that. I mean, everything that's just a cosmetic mod. I don't really care about right now. I just care about driving the car again because it's so much fun.
Awesome. Well said, man. And then, yeah, just to reiterate, keep doing what you're doing, man. I completely respect what you're doing, and it seems like you really care about and take care of the car. So yeah, man, just keep doing what you're doing.
Thanks, man. I mean, it's my dream to have, a career on YouTube. I don't know if it will happen, but I'm keeping my head up and, praying to God every single day it happens.
Awesome, man. Well, yeah. Thanks again. If like you have something to announce or you just want to talk Corolla again, let me know, man. I'd love to have you back.
Sounds great, man.
Cool.
Thanks for having me on.
That's it for this week's episode. If you like what you've heard, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, as reviews really help support us. You can do it straight from your desktop. Don't even need an Apple device. This is Autohaus Z. Thanks for all the support, you guys.